say 60% of the work week is over.
Is over.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, now every Wednesday we have a daily life dialogue for you.
Yes.
And the topic that we're discussing this month is I have a crush on someone. So if you have a crush on someone, it means that you really like them very much.
Yeah.
Romantically.
And it's kind of a secret.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to have a crush.
They don't know.
Shh. Okay. And so the subtitle is, what are you waiting for? So when someone says, Cameron, what are you waiting for?
Yes.
What am I really asking you?
Hurry up. Go.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Why are you waiting?
Why are you waiting?
Just do it.
Go ahead.
Yes.
It's time to do something.
Okay. Okay. So it's true. If you have a crush on someone, when is the right time to do something? I don't know.
Never. Maybe never.
Maybe never.
You know, but it is one of those things. Maybe they're your friend, but you have a crush on them.
Yeah.
But if you say you have a crush,
then you lose that.
You lose the friend.
It's awkward.
I've seen a lot of dramas where that's...
Well, when Harry met Sally, it's about two best friends. And then later they develop feelings, but then you don't want to say anything because it could ruin the friendship.
Yes.
Okay, here are some expressions that we're going to cover. Let me get this straight. So when you're in a conversation and you say, hold on, let me get this straight, what are you really saying?
You are saying, I am confused or surprised. So I'm going to say what I think I understood.
Yeah.
So you're going to say, let me get this straight. And then say what you think. And then the other person will say, yes, that's right. Or, no, that isn't.
Okay. It's almost like you're taking a minute to organize your thoughts.
Yes.
Okay. If you make the first move, and this is really important when you're before dating.
Yes.
Making the first move.
So this is where you do not wait on the other person. You go ahead and do the thing. Maybe it's saying, I like you. Or maybe it's proposing. You're not waiting on the other person.
Right. So it's kind of like you've had a crush and you make the first move. You take the first action.
Yes.
You want to get some dinner or have some coffee? You know, that's making the first move. Okay. At risk of something.
So risk here is talking about danger. Something bad could happen if you do this action.
Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and listen to our power dialogue.
Let me get this straight. You like Emily and you think she likes you, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And you haven't made the first move? What are you waiting for?
I'm nervous that it could go terribly wrong.
Look, the worst that can happen is she says she isn't interested. You don't work in the same department, so what are you worried about?
I'm afraid of rejection, mostly, but I might also be at risk of getting fired if she reports me to HR.
Here we go. We're on page 62. That's where you can find the power dialogue with the title, I have a crush on someone. What are you waiting for? Jocelyn says, let me get this straight. You like Emily and you think she likes you, right?
Yes.
So, as we had mentioned just a few minutes ago, it's like you're kind of organizing your thoughts, like what you heard.
Yes.
And then you're kind of saying it back to the other person.
Right. Yes, here the straight is talking about organization. So, you know how, we have these conversations where we talk about one thing, and we talk about another thing, and we go to another thing.
All the time.
We jump around.
Yes.
And then...
We really do.
Right?
Yes.
So sometimes we have to go, okay, let me get this straight. And then we come back and we organize our thoughts, or we say the conclusion as a way of making things clear.
Right.
So Stan has been talking about himself and Emily, but maybe he's not been talking clearly. He's been going back and forth and everywhere.
And it's kind of going around in circles.
So Jocelyn is like, okay, wait.
Hold on.
Let me get this straight.
Yes. I want to clear this up. Make sure that I understand. Sometimes, also, this can be used when you're like, wait a second. let me get this straight. And it's almost like you didn't like what you just heard.
Right, yeah. It's like a surprise or like, excuse me?
Yes. Wait a second.
Let me get this straight.
Let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can probably hear this, in business meetings when maybe you're negotiating and you're like, what? Excuse, what?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Stan says, yeah, that's right. And Jocelyn says...
And you haven't made the first move? What are you waiting for?
Okay. So, you haven't made the first move. Okay.
Yes.
So making the first move.
Yes. So this is kind of the feeling, when chess or like paduk or like whatever, one player goes first. That is making the first move.
Sure.
It starts everything else. So in the same way, even though this is a romantic situation, one person has to say something or do something to start the larger conversation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Stan likes Emily, but no one is saying anything.
Right.
So here, making the first move would be, how in school you'd say, "Do you like me?" Check yes or no, and you put the little box.
Check yes.
Put a big box with yes.
It's a
and
test.
a small little box with no. Yeah. And you please check yes or no.
That is so cute.
Yeah, that's making the first move.
It's making the first move, yeah. But is it only used in this sort of romantic sense or kind of dating sense, or could it be used possibly in business?
It could be used in business when two companies are they're in competition. So one company starts a new research on a new product first.
They make the first move.
Right. Or it could even be, I don't know, like a sports. Let's say boxing.
Yeah.
Sometimes the boxers just kind of wait.
They're kind of like, back and forth.
And they're not punching.
Yeah.
But the first player to punch, we could say they're making the first move.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So then Stan says...
I'm nervous. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm nervous that it could go terribly wrong. So Jocelyn is saying, what are you waiting for? Why do something? And Stan is nervous. He's like, oh, maybe something's going to go wrong. And what does Jocelyn say?
Look, the worst that can happen is she says she isn't interested. You don't work in the same department, so what are you worried about?
Okay, this is a great power pattern, which is very often used by native speakers. The worst that can happen is... Yeah. The worst that can happen is, so tell us about this pattern.
This is when you're going to introduce the worst possible situation. So it's often used whenever the worst thing is not really that bad. In this case, for example, she can just say no. Is that really that big of a deal?
Right,
That's not that big of a deal.
Yes.
That is the feeling whenever Jocelyn says the worst thing that can happen is she isn't interested.
So oftentimes native speakers will use this when they're encouraging the other person to do something. And the other person is like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'm a little scared. And so you're saying, listen, it's okay. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you don't get the job.
Right.
The worst thing that can happen is she says no. It's not the end of your life.
Right.
This is the implication.
Yes.
So here is that, hey, the worst thing that can happen is she's not interested in you. She doesn't like you.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
She works in another department. It's okay. And Stan says, I'm afraid of rejection mostly, but I might also be at risk of getting fired if she reports me to HR. Okay. So he's afraid of rejection. And this is an important word in the dating scene. Rejection.
Yeah. So reject, of course, is to refuse. 거절하다, right? So here rejection is the noun. So if you're in fear of rejection, you're afraid of rejection. It means like, oh, I don't want her to say no.
Yeah. And rejection is a terrible feeling. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I do feel traditionally, it's usually the guy that has to worry about it.
Yes.
Asking on dates or proposing for marriage.
Right.
Yeah, those types of things.
That's a big responsibility.
Yeah, it's a little scary. Sometimes it feels better. A little scary.
A little scary.
Yeah.
Okay. And if he is at risk of getting fired, if you're at the risk of something.
Yes, this means you're at in danger of something happening. So this bad thing could happen. And in particular, this is... If Emily does not respond well, she could go to HR and say, hey, Stan tried to ask me out.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right. Please do something about that. You know, it can cause problems in the workplace.
Yes, that's right. And company policies, there are certain company policies.
Yes.
You got to be careful. Let's go ahead and listen to that one more time.
Let me get this straight. You like Emily and you think she likes you, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And you haven't made the first move? What are you waiting for?
I'm nervous that it could go terribly wrong.
Look, the worst that can happen is she says she isn't interested. You don't work in the same department, so what are you worried about?
I'm afraid of rejection, mostly, but I might also be at risk of getting fired if she reports me to HR.
Okay, it's time for Power Note. We're on pages 64 and 65. If you say to someone, let me get this straight, you're basically saying, do I understand this clearly? Okay. Let me get this straight. You're working for free?
Yeah, I really wanted experience in this field, so I took a job as an intern.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Interns, you're getting the experience.
Right. I think it depends on the country as well. I think some countries, you don't have unpaid internships now.
They do pay you.
It has to be paid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much, but yeah, you do get something.
Yeah, because I think a lot of companies kind of
take advantage,
abuse the possibility of having interns, right?
Let me get this straight. 10 people are coming over for dinner?
Yeah.
So what do you think is the tone here?
So this is probably, you're the mom.
Yeah.
And then your husband comes and says, honey, tonight I invited 10 of my coworkers to eat dinner with us.
Yeah.
And the wife is like, what? It's more like, I cannot believe what I just heard.
Yeah, that's right.
I must have heard you wrong.
Yeah, so it's like repeating yourself. Hold on, let me get this straight. 10 people are coming?
What?
Not 3, not 4.
10.
Yeah, 10. Yeah. And it can happen. It's true. You know, you're at a company, you're like, come on over. And you bring like the whole department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I've heard stories about how the children tell the mom that they need like 100 cupcakes tomorrow morning. And it's 9 p.m.
That's
great. Like the child does not tell the parents.
Oh, that's great. At 9 p.m.
Let me get this straight.
Okay.
Because the kid can't do it.
Yeah,
probably.
Right.
Can't make the cupcakes.
Yeah, but it would be nice if the kid told the mom earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Make the first move is to basically start an interaction with someone.
Yes.
Okay. When are you and Greta going to stop fighting?
I'm willing to be friends with her again, but she has to make the first move.
This is interesting. This is a friendship. They got in a fight. And then you make the first move, what, to apologize?
Yeah, to apologize or what we call reconciling.
Oh, yeah.
화해하는 거죠.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is where something bad has happened between you.
Yeah.
And you have to come back together and
make the first move.
Make the first move.
Yeah.
Someone does.
Yeah, because if you don't, then you're just never going to be talking to each other again. The two angry men faced each other, wondering who would make the first move. In this case, you gave that example of boxing.
Yeah.
Right?
So
making the first punch or whatever it is.
Yeah, this is kind of that image. You know how, like, let's say you're out late at night, you're at a bar, and two, usually men, they kind of like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? You gonna hit me?
Yeah.
You're gonna hit me? Like, they never actually fight, but they pretend like they're about to fight. They're waiting for the other person to make the first move.
Very interesting. So first, making the first move doesn't have to be about asking someone out on a date, but it could be used in a wide variety of contexts. Okay, very good. Now, if you are at the risk of something, you are in danger of something. Okay, let's look at some examples. Look at the cracks in those walls and the ceiling too.
This building is at risk of collapsing. We should leave now.
Oof. Oof. All right, sounds serious. Doctors and nurses are the most at risk of catching infectious diseases.
Yes, and probably teachers as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. When the flu goes around, you know the teacher's going to get it too.
Yeah. So this at risk is, in danger of something. And the danger doesn't have to be something life-threatening. It could just be something bad could happen.
Okay.
Like an infectious disease, 전염병, they aren't all super heavy, big diseases.
Yeah.
It could be a cold, but you can still be at risk of getting a cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we talked about at risk of collapsing, at risk of, sometimes you can be, like in the dialogue, at risk of losing your job.
At risk of failing.
At risk of failing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At risk of...
Gosh, I surely hope that we are not at risk of losing our jobs here at Power English.
No, please.
No, please. We want to be here for a while.
Well, as long as our listeners support us,
yes,
we are not at risk of losing our job.
That's right. Power pattern is the worst that can happen is, and this is it's a little long, but very useful, which is saying that, hey, you should do it.
It's not a big deal.
It's not so bad. It's not the end of the world.
If it goes bad, it won't be that bad.
Right. The worst that can happen is you get sent home.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
I love home.
Yeah.
The worst that can happen is they tell you to rewrite it. Yeah. So you're not going to get fired.
Yeah.
Just rewrite the report.
That's right. Right. So it's a great expression to encourage someone to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It'll be okay. It's not so bad. Okay, our power vocab today is on page 66. It comes from the word reject. In the dialogue, it was rejection.
Yes.
And this is, you can be rejected from a job interview, a job.
Yeah, or a love interest.
A love interest.
Or a college, a university.
Oh,
yeah, rejected.
Letter of rejection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, those
are the worst.
Oh, I've had them.
That's true. Yeah, it's awful.
All right. So do check out the definition on page 66 and do stop by
오디오 어학당.
Very good. Where you get your money's worth.
Yes, you do.
Okay, for a very small monthly fee. And we'll see you a little bit later on Evening Special.
Bye-bye.